very warm welcome, sir. Now I request you to take over.
Sorry. Thank you so much for that warm welcome and adding so much to my uh, confidence that I have done so much, many things. I sometimes forget all of that. But yes, thank you so much. And without any delay, I would go straight into my presentation. Without taking permission of the organizers, I just wanted to see if you all could see the presentation that I started to share. So, could you all see it? Can somebody respond if it was available on the screen? No,
It's not available yet.
it was not. Okay, so let me share once again. It shows that participants can now see your application. Can you see the presentation now?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, cool. So this will be the presentation, and I wish to go full screen in this so that everybody can have a look at it. But just let me give me 1 minute to go full screen. And if I am short on time, please the chairperson can just tell me that I have like 5 minutes left or something like that, and I'll stop because I won't be able to see the clock. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So can you see the entire screen now?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, so my topic today, my topic of discussion, and I would like it to be interactive, but I don't know how interactive it will be. But I'll try to keep it as short as possible so that there could be some space for some time for um, an interactive session, a question answer session. So from page to screen to scroll. Now we are familiar with the page, we are familiar with the screen, but scrolling is something that we the ancient dinosaurs, me one of them, we associate it with like ancient scrolls which open like this and you need to study something like that, some kind of ancient stuff. But scroll today, uh, it's some I guess someone's microphone is on, so there's some noise coming. So if you could like switch off your microphone if you're not trying to speak or give a parallel talk, I won't mind if somebody wants to join in. So the scroll today is associated with the internet phenomena. Like we scroll pages after pages, we scroll right and left, and we want to reach somewhere but we forget in the middle of our scrolling. And something called the doom scrolling is also there, where we scroll till the end of the time. So it is through these medials, it is through these medium that storytelling is done, not just in South Asia, not just in digital cultures, but in but at all places, digital or otherwise. I mean, there is hardly anything left where the digital has not made an inroad, and everything is now kind of digital. So let's go to, I guess, one of the more interesting slides. Now, when you look at it, what do you see first? What do you notice first? Whatever is written in like bold: free, hot, and sex. I would tell you an anecdote about this. The laptop that I'm presenting from, I got it as a prize, as a prize for winning a contest for trying to describe India in a single word. And I guess the word that made me the prize winner was free. FREE, free. We Indians love anything that is free. Even if we will buy, if somebody offers us poison, we will get the poison and keep it for our enemies. But free is something that we all love. But the fine script reads freedom, which nobody cares about really. Hot, like that is associated with the sexual activity. Nobody really cares about the heating up of the climate, the global warming, and when everybody is interested in this word sex, in India, the word sex carries a load of um, hushed up excitement. But the sexism that is practiced rampantly, not just in digital cultures, but also in non-digital cultures, in schools, in colleges, in workplaces, is often not paid that much attention. So I deliberately used this disproportionate sense of the font size in order to highlight what really matters, but which don't really get that much kind of attention that these free, hot, and sex, these words, these associations often attract. Now, the first part of the presentation is about cartoons, about how they initiate and how they carry forward political dialogues and discourses. Now, when I was approached by the esteemed faculty of the college, I knew that this program is going to be organized in Kerala, and this is Bangla. The script that you can see inside the cartoon is Bangla. But the picture, as it is said now, it's a cliche that an image speaks 1,000 words. So apparently, there's this batsman grinning, like the South African batsman yesterday. That person is grinning, and this pot bellied person has a ball in his hand. Two other people look concerned, and the pot bellied person who has the ball in his hand is supposed to be the bowler, and he says that this person is very difficult to bowl out, this person is very difficult to dismiss. Why? Because, as the cartoon informs, that he must be a communist. It's very difficult to get rid of a communist. And this particular image, this particular cartoon was published when in West Bengal the uh, the government headed by CPM, the communist government, was ruling for more than 25 years. So the opposition was very worried that there is no way in which this government can be dislodged. But in this cartoon, the the political difficulties boil down to something funny, something that is understood by the people, in particularly in West Bengal, very clearly. And it is through these cartoons, it is through these exaggerations, it is through these caricatures that some very difficult, some very historically valid ideas are communicated. So this transmediality or this intermediality is established through this cartoon among many others. Now, this is an ongoing debate. This is an ongoing problem, not just in India, in everywhere else. That the prices of the petrol are going up. The prices of certain things are going up, and as a solution, people are going back to bullock carts. So the car or the truck is driven not by petrol, not by diesel, but by bullocks. So we are going back to this ancient, or we are going back to this medieval mode of conveyance, because that is the only solution to the petrol issue. As the caption mentions in Bangla, the petrol problem can be solved only when we revert back to this formula of using the bullocks to drive our vehicles. Now, this is something that you might readily understand, or this is something that you might readily identify with. Now, this water that is coming down the pipe is the sum total of the welfare opportunities that the government, that the society in general aims at common people. The common people, you can see, is at the bottom of, standing at and beneath all these four bigger characters. Now, when the aid, or when the solution, when the money, when the um, welfare opportunities are sent from one position to another, it is first the politicians, whose whose hand is at the top. They drink from it first. They get to the opportunities the first. And then there is the MP, the member of the parliament, who gets to drink next. And then there is the chairman. You see how they come down one after another. The chairman of a municipal corporation, the chairman of a body, the chairman of a committee, he gets to gets his hand on a few drops of the water, because it has already been consumed from the top. And then there's a member also who gets to have his hand wet by a few drops. But what does the last person get? Nothing. Through this cartoon, through this image, people who made this are trying to say that there is no dearth of welfare opportunities being provided from the government to the common people, but there are a number of intermediaries who often suck it before it reaches the common person. So this image, which is a digital image, when it is shared in the Facebook, when it is shared in other social media, then it does give a very clear, if not very strong, but a very clear idea to the common people as to how or why things are not getting better, even if there is a lot of money that is being sent, there's a lot of resources that are being sent from upwards, but they never reach to the bottom. Now, this particular cartoon is the image of a party office of a particular political party, represented by the green banana, which in Bangla is called Kachkola. Kachkola is a word that means that if somebody says that I will, would you help me with this, and the other person says Kachkola, then it means that that person is not going to get any help. Kachkola, the word Kachkola means void, null, nothing, nada. So this party is known as the Kachkola party, which gives nothing in return to the common people, but then it does give something. If you can see, if you can look at the goggles that the lady and the gentleman is wearing, something is written on those goggles. That is called, that in Bangla it's called Protishruti. It means promise. We all know that the political ideologues or political parties, many political people, they make a lot of promise. And these people have been, if not, I mean, these people have been literally brainwashed, because this person who shows a victory sign, which is very ubiquitous in elections and all, it shows victory. He says that why don't you deposit your brains and take handfuls of, loadfuls of promises. This person, who's not wearing the goggle, is running after something called the same thing, the promise. And the other people are in queue to submit their brains and take those uh, goggles, which means false promises. So this entire system works on a load of false promises. A number of false promises are made, and people often believe all these false promises, and they vote for their they vote for their political whoever they think will give them more. And there have been so many instances of this, that the people who have drawn this are showing through this intermedial dialogue, through this combination of words and pictures, that this is something, this practice is something that is very wrongly done to make people go go for false promises and choose governments, choose politicians, choose political parties who do not actually do anything else. Even the cat is scratching its head. It's a cat with a mask on, and it's scratching its head because even the cat is not able to understand what is going on. Now, next, this is a famous image drawn from a famous movie by Satyajit Roy, Oscar award winning director Satyajit Roy, where he there's this character called the king and his minister. So the king is saying that all these people are not really brainwashed because they are watching these cartoons, they are seeing these cartoons, they have not been brainwashed properly, and your brainwashing machine is useless. But then the minister replies that no, my king, no, my emperor, my hymns, my brainwashing techniques, my brainwashing device is all right, but these people have a strong spine. So the message is clear that if you have a strong spine, even if somebody tries to wash your brain, it won't be washed because the spine will hold you firm against any kind of oppression or any kind of false promises. Now, again, this image is an evocative one where the cartoonists, where the anonymous cartoonists, I must say, because these were posted on Facebook, and the cartoonists did not, of course, want their names to be made public, and hence these are not. I won't be able to tell who exactly drew these comics, but if you can have a look at this, it's, I think somebody called Bhotto Babu is the is the cartoonist who drew this image, but I'm not sure about this one because it is more it is more direct, because here you can see three characters. One is easily identifiable as a authoritarian person with a uniform. Another is also easily identifiable because of the person's dress, and the third one seems to be a kind of a thug, a gunda, a goon, and they are all having a party together because one thing leads to another. And if you look at closely, this person who's wearing a uniform has a wad of note hanging from his pocket. So it signifies that there is a lot of corruption. It signifies there is a lot of extortion. There is a lot of anarchy. There is a lot of unemployment. There is, which leads to terrorism, which leads to a lot of criminal activities that are committed every day. But of course, one is not saying that only because you are unemployed or only because you do not have the means to satisfy your desires right now, you will turn into a kind of a criminal and you will start doing criminal activities. But the cartoon the cartoon shows that it is these um, situations that can lead to terrorism, that can lead to crime, when the right is not being judged, when the right people are not provided the right opportunities. Now let's come to, this is the second part of the presentation. Let's come to this idea of feminism versus patriarchy. Now, one of the areas, now this is another mode of communication, this is another mode of artistic expression. From cartoon, I am now coming to the screen that I understand to be the screen of the TV, the screen of the OTT, the screen of the smart TV. And I will be talking about the Bengali serials, because it is there where this idea of feminism versus patriarchy is seen superficially challenged, and then it is seen uh, to be kind of a repetition of the same patriarchal values that the serial showed. The directors or the people who produced it promised, again a false promise, that this is something that is going to change the perception of the people about women, about the Indian, about the Bengali serials and stuff. I don't need to explain this image, because many young people who are in the audience would readily hear the words, even if they are not mentioned here. Though I wanted someone to say what these two people are laughing about. There's one particular word that these people are saying, but I don't know if that is possible. If anybody can tell me what this word is being said here. And it's a very recognized meme. It's a very everybody knows what these two people are saying and laughing about. There's just one word: women. These two people are laughing because they are smiling, or they are laughing at the so-called um, less intellectual stance, the less intellectual ability of women in general. So these people are saying women. I mean, people who know about this meme, people who have seen this post earlier, would almost hear this word of insult. But then we come to the Bengali serials, something that is happening in Bengal. There is an audience for these serials. People watch them religiously almost. And in almost all of these uh, images, you can see that the image of the woman has taken kind of a center stage. If you look at these images, as opposed to Hollywood, as opposed to Bollywood movies or even OTTs, these Bengali serials claim to put the image of the woman in the center, to put the image of the feminine image at the center of all activity, and they show that these women have a lot of agency. Now, the truth that is that no, they don't really have that kind of agency. All of these images, I will explain one of them at the right bottom corner. A woman wearing a yellow shawl. She is supposed to be Rani Rashmoni, who was one of the few Bengali female personas who took the trouble to fight against the Britishers. Not like hot fighting, not like she did not fight with a gun or a sword, but her fight was economic. And this serial, Rani Rashmoni, tried to portray her image, tried to portray her life. It was a biopic kind of a serial. Now, while there were some similarities between what the serial producers, the directors were trying to show, and the historical accounts of Rani Rashmoni, Queen Rashmoni, there were a lot of liberties that the people who were working on this serial had taken up. And besides that, um, Rani Rashmoni, the character, the actress who played the role of Rani Rashmoni, she was often trolled for being too young to portray the role. she was often trolled for some kind of for a phrase that she often used in the Bengali serial. And this shows a lot about how we still perceive the female character. But that is one part of the deal. If you look at the other images on the screen, most of these um, serials have one central woman character who typically is from the rural background, and she is chosen by a very rich, by a very powerful, by a very important person, to be made into a metrosexual person, to be made into a very advanced, to be made into a very progressive woman. So you see, the Pygmalion myth is repeated again and again in these TV serials. The formula is there will be a hapless, poor, yet intelligent, beautiful, or dark skinned, that's a different paradigm, woman in the rural background. She will be adopted, she will be chosen, she will be married, she will be loved, she will be admired by this person from the city, and this woman will rise in her stature. One day she would be cooking, the next day she would be studying law, the third day she would be flying an aircraft. By making the woman character completely unrealistic, these TV serials have done more harm in creating an alternative image of the woman than doing something right. That's my personal view of it, whatever I have seen and understood of this, that instead of showing a woman in her real colors, a woman in reality, these serials exaggerate, just like the cartoons did, exaggerate the image of the woman manifold, thus thus creating a distance between the audience, the women in the audience who might want to be like them, by saying that, oh my god, I won't be able to do all of these things that this lady is doing. Of course, now I need to understand, or we need to understand, that whatever is shown in the screen is not real, and it's just a metaphor for what can be done. Just like, I don't know if many of you have seen these movies on Pushpa. There's this Pushpa movies where the hero can do stuff which even Superman cannot. So, but do we men readily identify with that kind of stuff? I mean, I won't, but the thing is that it can be a metaphor for telling us that we can also do certain things that the world thinks we will not be able to do. So maybe it's an encouragement. Maybe we should not completely dismiss this whole representation. Now, other than these commercially successful movies and daily serials, there are some um, Bengali movies which actually have been portraying the real thing. There's this Paromitar Ekdin, there is Goynar Baksho, there is Dohon, there is Dugga Shohoy, there is Brahmajane, and then there's a number of other movies which actually portray women as they are: oppressed, restricted, constrained, and yet fighting for their freedom. But the problem is that these movies, other than maybe Goynar Baksho or any other one or two other movies, they have not really seen much commercial success because the portrayal of the women in these movies is real. It's not so that the women are shown as super women. So that is one of the issues that is going on with the portrayal of women on the screen. Now, this image of the Durga, she is not holding the weapons as the image of the deity we know uh, in general is. She is holding things which are kind of modern, which are kind of progressive, non religious, secular. And look at the comments. I don't know if you can read the comments, but the comments, one of them says that not only the image of Durga has been presented in a bad light, but all the women are also shamed through this image. There have been a backlash at that person also, that there is nothing insulting, there is nothing wrong with this image. But some people, some orthodox people, they see a lot of issues with whatever the Devi, the goddess Durga is holding. But it is a screenshot from a Facebook page, and these kinds of images flood the Facebook. There is this artistic expressions, and I think today any woman is doing all of these things all at the same time, and thus she is the right representation of the modern Durga that women are trying to become. They are going to the gym, they are handling the phone, they are also partying, they are good in education, they can manage their money, they can go to the job, they can play, they can also spray pepper spray into people's eyes, they also deal with their menstrual issues, they are also active in the LGBTQ scenario. But this is not acceptable to the regressive community of orthodox people, and they challenge it, they question it. But this image is evocative, this image shows this cross cultural, this image shows this almost Indian image of the woman. Whether people, most of the people agree with it or not, it does create a base for an argument, a base for discussion. Now, when we are scrolling through the social media, when we are scrolling through any kind of social handles, we see a lot of fake news. Social media can reach millions of people instantly. Now, looking at this image, because you will not be able to read the Bangla, many of you will not be able to read the Bangla, but look at this image. What does it tell you? What is happening here? Of course, this lady is being assaulted, right? This goon is pulling the sari off the hapless lady, and the crowd is watching. Horrific scene, right? Nobody's interfering, as it happens in our society also. People die on streets, women are assaulted, people are murdered. Nobody interferes because we are scared for our own skin. And you will see that this image will tell you that something similar is happening. Another woman is being assaulted in broad daylight in front of so many people, and yet nobody is doing anything. No, it is not. It is an image from a movie shooting. Without context, it might be very dangerous. It might look that whatever I was telling a minute ago is true. But this image is just an image of a movie that is being shot. So, the first image, the image on the left, somebody took this image, posted it on the internet, and said that, this Hindu woman is being assaulted, and as the Hindu society should rise up against this kind of oppression, and we should take steps. By taking steps, you all know what that means. But on the image of the right, there is a clear expression, there's a clear explanation that this image is taken from a movie shoot, and it is not an assault on either a Hindu or a Muslim or any other person. it's just play acting. You will see these images galore on social media too often to be ignored. I mean, when we see something like this for the first time, we might ignore it. Then we see it for the second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time. Then we cannot ignore it. We think that no, something like this must have happened. And now there is AI that augments things beyond our imaginations. Again, another fake news. This is that dealt with the COVID situation. An old image of a overcrowded station was provided, that the very day the trains opened after the COVID lockdown, this is the situation and this is how um, the COVID will spread more. But the image on the right, the real image, tells that this image is of a overcrowded platform, yes, in Kolkata, in West Bengal, but it is of 2018, not of 2020 or 21. Now, fundamentalism versus liberal views, and how comics, how the page can contribute to a harmonious situation, can contribute to a harmonious uh, uh, situation between various communities and various stakeholders. So, this image is taken from a particular comic book known as The Rakshak, which is a part of an anthology called Graphicotha. And in this image actually shows that there is this deity called the Bono Bibi in Sundarbans. This is written in English, so you'll be able to relate it to it better. And if you look at the people who are offering their worship to Bono Bibi, the deity in Sundarbans, you would see that there is this Muslim person and there is this supposed to be a Hindu person also, though they are sitting separately, but they are within the same enclosure, worshipping the same deity, offering their prayers to the same uh, deity. And there is a kind of a communal harmony, there is a kind of a togetherness that is shown here. And if you dismiss it only because it's fiction, then there are some real images that might show that no, this is not entirely a piece of fiction, there is some truth to this image also. The image on the extreme left, top left corner, is an image that was beamed across the social media circles a number of times, and it says that, is it that easy to turn us against each other? It's shaming people who get agitated by those fake news and fake images, that no, it is not so easy to turn us against each other. We have been brothers for so long, we have been together for so long, we have been sisters for so long. Why, how can we become bloodthirsty so easy? Then the image on the right is that of Bono Bibi, the deity of the Sundarbans, and and apparently um, look a Muslim looking person, a person who looks like a Muslim because he has a beard and he has a skull cap, and he is known as the Chand Shodagar. The Shodagar means the tradesman. So this person is here along with uh, the so-called Bono Bibi deity, and they are sharing the same location. They are sharing the same space, which signifies that even our religion have a common origin. But under certain misguidance, under certain misjudgments, we often think that no, things are very different. The three images below all evoke unity, all evoke brotherhood, sisterhood, all evoke a kind of a amalgamation or a kind of unity between all religions. And this is also social media. So social media has the possibility to divide as well as it has the possibility to unite, just as the jigsaw puzzle image shows that there can be applied, or there can be implied unity between all religions. Now this is supposed to be the crux of this presentation, that we have some problems. What has social media activism, what has intermedial activisms, what have intermedial dialogues been able, have been, and what have been their effect? Problem number one, corruption. And how has it been how has it been dealt in the social media? Satire. There's a lots of satire against corrupt politicians, corrupt police officers, corrupt teachers, corrupt doctors. But what is the effect? There has been no visible effect that which can be quantified, that because of the satire something has happened. Second problem, police apathy or any kind of authoritarian apathy. So there are some direct statements against this kind of apathy. Sometimes in sometimes in movies, or in the movies of the 90s actually, we often found that the police arrives at the end of everything. When the hero has successfully defeated all the villains alone, it is then that the police comes. So giving us the perception that the police will always arrive at the end when everything is done. Sometimes in our own life, sometimes in through newspaper, sometimes through news, we see that when the incident was being reported, nobody came to the rescue, but later some people came up. And there is a comic book called Doga Hindu Hai, which means Doga is Hindu. Doga, the protagonist of that comic book, superhero vigilante, makes a direct statement that police is useless. I mean, made by the comic book character, that police is useless. There is some effect that has taken place, which we will discuss in the next slide. Police are using the medium to fight cybercrime. The same medium, the cyber medium, is being used by the police to fight cybercrime. Third is the lack of political will to do something about the problems of the common people. Again, there is a satire against all of this. Many people have satirized the political apathy, the lack of political will. And the effect is that politicians and administrators are taking note of few issues, which we will see what issues have been taken note of. Inefficiency of governmental mechanisms, again another satire. For example, there was this ad, or there was this small video, that a small boy has arrived at the pension office and he is very agitated. He is saying that I want my pension right now. I have been no, harassed a lot. And this small boy is just like maybe 8 or 10 years old. So the person who is in charge of the office is saying, "Are you are just a little boy. You are just not even 10. How come you ask for pension?" And the boy irritatingly says that, "Are I have taken another birth since my last one, and still I have not got my pension." So this kind of inefficiency of governmental mechanisms have been satirized through a lot of images, through a lot of videos. But even after that, there have been no visible effect of any change, any positive change that has taken place on the issue of inefficiency of governmental mechanisms. And then there's the lack of awareness about social issues. It has also been satirized. And it has led to increase in general awareness. For example, I don't know if the same ad runs in the southern theaters also, but when we go to a theater, there is this actor called Akshay Kumar, and he reprimands his friend for uh, smoking a cigarette rather than buying his wife sanitary pads. So that's a awareness that is being created among the people, or an attempt is being made to create such awareness, and there have been a little progress in people becoming more aware of these social issues. Now, as I said, that the police have been trying to get into the act. The police have been, the mechanism is trying to get onto this bandwagon of cyber online digital fight against the digital harassment or the digital arrests. So there is this cyber hypnosis being talked about. This poster is created by the Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, West Bengal. So there's this dedicated call number. There's this dedicated site where if you are defrauded, if you somebody is harassing you, then you can complain over there. A whole comic book has been created, and these many issues are being addressed through that comic book. This comic book, by being more visual, have been able to attract a lot of attention from especially from the new generation, especially from the generation who is hooked onto the social media. As I was saying, that there has been some effect of political activism, some effect of people satirizing politicians or calling politicians to take note of the various issues that are being faced by common people every day. I don't know about other states, but in West Bengal, there has been these dedicated phone numbers where you can call and tell your problem. And the problem is that it activates only before the election. But even then, people take the call, they listen, and certain things happen. Like if your problem is something that can be solved without disturbing the political status quo, then people hear. So there's now a direct connection between the common people and the government. So that's something that has happened at least in West Bengal. Now, this is the Twitter. This is a screenshot from the Twitter, and the person who is responding is a politician, is an MLA, also a film director, Raj Chakraborty. And when somebody talked about that there is some problem regarding resources, regarding food, or regarding medicine, he responds. He gives his own personal number and asks that person to contact him. And it was reported that aid, resources, or medicines were provided. So you see, this Twitter, this I mean now X, initially Twitter, earlier Twitter, now X, can actually make a small difference, if not a big one. So before we dismiss this whole social media thing as a waste of time, we might think a little bit again, that can it be used for better purposes or not. Most of us here are teachers or students, and this teacher has found out a brilliant way to keep the students engaged. She is talking from a apparatus which looks like a mobile phone, and the principal or the other teachers are saying that it looks silly, but the kids are finally listening to her. Because all of our kids, they would watch the phone in order to eat, they will watch the phone in order to be allowed to be coaxed and cajoled to sit for 10 minutes to study, and then they will again take up the phone. They will look at cartoons, and if it is taken away from their hands, they will get really very angry. But this teacher has done something brilliant, and she is teaching not directly but through the intermediality, through the medium of the mobile phone. So that's all that I have to talk about today, that I had to talk about today. And if you have any questions, if you have any doubts, if you have anything to add to whatever I said today, you may shoot an email to this email address, and I will be happy to answer them, as I will be happy to answer any question that comes up from the audience or from the organizers or anything. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for that clear and engaging and wonderfully articulated session. The ideas you have shared today add significantly to the conversations we have been building, and we are grateful for the thoughtful connections you have drawn for us. Meanwhile, I would also like to alert the online audience to kindly mark the attendance in the attendance form shared in the Zoom meeting chat. and the audience assembled here to make sure that you've marked your attendance in the sheet that we've already circulated. We would now like to open the platform for discussion and invite questions from the audience.
There are there could be like two things in the chat. Oh, okay, sorry. So this is not a question. I thought there will be some questions in the chat.
Online audiences may type your questions in the chat box.
I guess the session was so boring that online audience have fallen asleep, and there's no question. Okay, so the offline one seems to have one.
So, sir, I'm Dr. Habib.
Thank you.
I'm
Yes, hello.
yes, professor of the department. Actually, these days I have seen something. I used to navigate to online newspapers, and every day we come across several newses which are based on what is happening in the social media. Maybe because our social media is very active, the print media is struggling to give the news because the news would be exhausted by the time it reaches the print media. So what they are doing as a trend I have observed is they are in the past, for example, in all India Radio, there was a segment called Curiosity News. In Malayalam, we called it Kautuka Vartagal. Every week, the news people will collect whatever curious news is happening across the world, and they will present it as a segment. Similar to that, whatever we are seeing is like things that are happening online, the chit chat, the clash, how the social media is responding. All these are published as printed media news. So I just want to know how you look at it.
Yes, you are quite correct. And something that I can relate to happened recently. I am a subscriber to Times of India newspaper, and my subscription is about to end in January. And these Times of India people who never really cared before that whether I am a subscriber or not, they started calling and messaging and emailing me repeatedly to renew my subscription. I understood that I am one of the few left, and they don't want me they don't want to let me go. See, yes, I totally agree with you that the print media will not be able to report all the news that has already become stale by the time the next day's newspaper come out. I completely agree to that, and I don't know what can be done to create a separate niche for the social for the newspaper, for the print media newspaper, other than just I can say just one thing, that when we are consuming the print media, we can retain the paper, we can retain the page, but the social media, if you refresh it once, the whole news would be gone. And besides, what I can say in favor of the print media is that there is some kind of checks and balances uh, in the print media which does not allow the fake news to come very thick and fast, unlike in the social media handles. Of course, Times of India or any other newspaper has gotten onto the digital bandwagon, and I don't know if you have seen these these debates on screen, not on social media but on screen, like on these news channels. They are almost at each other's throats. I remember news being told in Doordarshan where there would be this decent person, decent lady and gentleman. They would be quietly telling a few things. But now I see the hosts, they are jumping on the table, and they are creating a lot of ruckus themselves. So I don't know where this is going, but I guess the same print media is doing something similar to keep their audience alive.
So what I can observe is Earlier in Kerala, from 8 to 9, we had serials in almost all the channels. After that, there was music reality show. There will be a lot of drama when someone is evacuated from the show. There will be the judges crying. The one who is to lose the like next show will cry, and there will be a lot of. Now, what is happening is the same is happening in the news channels where everybody will be on the other's throat and they'll be arguing vehemently, and all the sort of drama is now going on there.
Yeah, I mean, without that, there will be no TRP. They will lose out.
Yes, yes. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Any more questions? Hi, sir.
Hello.
I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible.
So earlier you had mentioned when it comes to corruption, the activism is always online. There is no translation, or there is no activism when it comes to corruption in real life. But how do you see what happened in Nepal recently, where uh, when social media activism against corruption got translated into real life?
Yes. Um, my observations were more pertaining to West Bengal, to India, than elsewhere, because if you observe the international scene, even in places like US or UK, people announce that there is going to be a meeting, there's going to be a march against a particular office, and then people gather. Yes, what happened in Nepal, I think, is the beginning of something that through social media, the Gen Z united, because there's something that can unite the Gen Z, that can unite our students today, is the social media. And I think it's a good thing that happened. I'm not in favor of the violence that happened, but I am in favor of the change. That there was some change that occurred in Nepal, and yes, in Nepal it happened. But I am waiting for the same thing to happen in India, in West Bengal. But I will also add to what your correct observation is, that in last year, 2024, in August, a doctor, a female doctor, was raped and murdered in RG Kor Hospital. It led to a huge backlash against the government, against the authorities. And yes, most of the marches, most of the sit ins were planned online. It did translate into something. And as Bengalis, as people who participated in it, we are pretty proud of it. But it does not happen in a daily basis. It, I mean, there's a lot of noise against corrupt politicians or policemen or teachers or doctors online. But when it is time to do something, go and take things in the hand democratically, even then very few people turn up. But I guess that has changed after the 2000 August 2024 incident. And I hope that we see more of these changes soon. So yes, I mean, I did miss out on the Nepal thing. That's a very important thing that you pointed out. Thank you so much for that. So while there is some question findings, I will say hi to Aparna and Saira. Hi.
Okay,
Yeah.
any other questions?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for your wonderful question, first of all. So my question is, you are actually talking about Gen Z and social media. So there are so many discussions about Gen Z and social media where there are so many negatives about Gen Z using social media and how they, they do not tolerate certain toxic things, whether be it in their personal life or professional aspects. We've even seen emails being forwarded to HR by Gen Z interns saying that they cannot handle the pressure at the workplace, so they're going for a break. So, do you think what their take on these stances are correct? Should we follow them, or are we following the traditional aspects? Which one is better? What is your stance on their opinions?
Uh,
Thank you.
yes, it's a very pertinent question. It's a very pertinent point that you raised. Um, as a teacher today, I have to deal entirely with Gen Z students, and they have a lot of uh, issues with a lot of things. But I think to some extent, what they are doing could be corrected if they are provided a proper guidance, if they are provided a proper channel to express themselves. You pointed out about the issues that these Gen Z people are having with the HR, like they are not ready to do the job as per the requirements of the job, and they rather like to bend things their own way. To some extent I agree with them that there could be an alternative way of doing things, right? Like, why should we always do something because my father or my grandfather or my grandmother has been doing it? For example, um, the way I teach, I'm an assistant professor by profession, and when I teach, I use vernacular Bangla or Hindi in and mix it with English. Many people of my own age or elder to me or even younger than me, they criticize my way of teaching because they say that if you introduce vernacular in the class, then the people will not the students, the learners will never learn English. I have two arguments. One, I am a literature teacher, so I'm not concerned about language. And another is that what should be our purpose? Is our purpose to show how well we can speak a language, or seen in the employment scenario, seen in the corporate scenario, what is our purpose? Is it our purpose only to keep the mouse moving, which has been recently debated, that if the mouse is not moving, then the manager will call out the employer as if he or she is not doing his job? Is that the purpose, or is the purpose to do the job properly? Let us give this Gen Z some time before we dismiss them or before we accept them. Let's see where they are taking this corporate sector, where they are taking this service sector too. For example, recently I read this newspaper in Times of India, print newspaper, that the GDP has grown like 8 point something percent, and if there is a growth in everything, where is this growth coming from if the Gen Z is not working? The Gen Z is working. And the people who are highlighting the failures of the Gen Zs, I think, are highlighting only one part of it, not the other part. They are working really hard. Some of them are working really hard. Yes, I mean, even in our generation, in all generations, there have been slackers. Nobody really likes to work hard, but I think the Gen Z is working smart. So that's my take on this debate. I hope I could at least provide some response to your query.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Good evening. I'm Tina.
Hello.
I messaged you. First of all, thank you so much for the wonderful session. We did have apprehensions about the Bangladesh, but the visual senses spoke and you supplemented them with your very interesting and very political inputs. So thank you. I just wanted to thank you. No question as such. And next time, we hope that you can come down to our college in person and have a session.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to it. I love to come down to your college and have a discussion with you. I'm all in favor of interaction. I don't like being like talking for 1 hour without anybody telling anything or without anyone telling me to shut up, because that's what I'm used to. So I would be really very honored to be able to come and talk to you in person.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir. My name is Prita. I'm
Good
a
evening.
scholar here at Farook College.
Good evening.
I've got two questions.
Yes.
In terms of graphic storytelling across media, in your observation, has it turned into a subculture in current multimedia or podcast culture? And my second question is, how far do you think media across decades has fostered or continued to foster critical thinking across generations? Thank you, sir.
Okay, so I'll answer your second question first. I would strongly agree to the view that instead of social media or instead of media fostering critical thinking, it has, I mean, the media is controlled by these corporate conglomerates who do not, I personally believe, and I strongly believe it, that they do not want the new generation or they do not want the people to think critically, because once they start thinking critically they will stop using social media. I mean, look at what we are given to consume. Some lady dancing in skimpy clothes, some daredevil person, jumping from 20 floors, somebody being hit by a train. Uh, what is the content that the social media thrives on? Where is the critical thinking? What if there is any criticism, if there is any critical dialogue, then the governments, all governments of all countries, they will stomp it out. So I think, and there has been a research also that when you are using these reels, when you are consuming these reels, when you are on social media, it damages some part of your brain if you are onto it for a very long time. But of course, I will not completely dismiss the role of social media, as ma'am pointed out. The same thing happened, something great happened in Nepal, I would say, that the Gen Z came together. They thought that enough is enough and now it's time to hit back. So there was some opinions, there were some critical opinions that were being formed in the social media, but I don't know if you will agree with me or not. I think this is an exception rather than the rule. In fact, the social media in India is used to channelize this aggression, this smartness, the intelligence of the Gen Z or the intelligence of the young people out into false things, out into trends, rather than concentrating them into critical thinking. That's my response to your second question. The first question is more interesting, is more it's equally interesting, that whether graphic novels have created a subculture. Yes and no. Yes, because there is a kind of a niche of people who have grasped this graphic novel medium to tell their stories, and there is a small audience that caters to this graphic stories, sequential stories. And no, because the academia, people like me, fools like me, have entered into this area and have used it to write journal papers, academic papers, destroying the very rebellious taste of this graphic medium. So, graphic novels, comics in India, especially today, can be regarded as a part of a youth subculture where some young people are drawing or creating these graphic novels. But yes, what I think you're pointing out to the fact that the subculture is being formed by not young people but by people like us who were reading comics when they were young. That's a subculture. There are groups like people who are above 40 like me. We have groups called nostalgia group and early comics group and all that, and we come together and we discuss like kids. Oh, that happened in that comics and this happened in that comics, and these graphic novels pertain to 1980s and 90s, not the modern ones. So maybe because I am not aware of any solid subculture group that exists especially on graphic novels, keeping manga away, especially on graphic novels. But yes, there are subcultures which I am not aware of, but there is a subculture of people like me, middle-aged people like me, who are into this kind of secret thing that we hide. We buy a lot of graphic novels and we hide it from our wives, lest they call us kids and lest they say that you are spending money on graphic novels and not on things that really make sense. So yeah, that is true that this social media has led to creation of a graphic subculture, not among youngsters as far as I know, but among people like me of the 40s or 45, like that. I hope I could answer both your questions.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So, have we left out any other questions? Uh, I guess let's get to conclude. So, to
Thank you.
formally conclude the session, I invite Ms. Sumaya Abdullah to propose the vote of thanks.
It's my honor and privilege to deliver the vote of thanks for today's session. I extend my deepest gratitude on behalf of the entire department to Professor Pradesh Chakravarti. So your session was very engaging and was intellectually stimulating as well. And your exploration of how narratives have traveled across media from comics to screens and the posts that we scroll through has made us understand how what we watch every day, we see and we scroll quietly shape our perceptions, even our political positions. Thank you, sir. And I extend my gratitude to the entire faculty of English department, also to our principal, research coordinator, and my fellow scholars, and also the audience who have made the session very remarkable with your presence. Thank you, sir. Thank you, scholars and audience.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So is it
Thank
okay
you
if
so
I
much.
sorry? Yes, please
Yes,
continue.
sir.
I was asking if it is okay for me to leave.
Yes, sir. Thank you for
Okay,
your
okay.
presence.
Thank you so much.
Just a reminder to all the online participants to